Hi! Welcome to this part of my guide and review featuring the FlexTale Solo Adventuring Toolkit. If you haven't seen the other parts of my guide and review, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about milestones, specifically the definitions of milestones. As always, I am going to be reading some key paragraphs to you, while giving you my opinion on those paragraphs. You could think of a plot as a kind of flowchart, with various stages or major events separated by other kinds of actions. These big moments of activity are called milestones. Milestones are major parts of a plot. You could think of them as defining chapters of a story, where you move from one chapter to the next. For example, in a video game, you could think of a milestone as a level, where you work on level 1, then complete that level, and advance to level 2, and focus on that level. Now let's address the terminology of milestones. When it comes to milestones and simple quests, in the simplest possible quest, there's only one milestone. Once you achieve that milestone, the quest is completed. Concerning milestones and complex plots, plots may have twists and turns, and may allow you to pursue parts of them in any order that you choose. 2 or more milestones that can be achieved in any order are called parallel milestones. When it comes to milestone convergence, much of the time, parallel milestones will converge. This simply means that 2 or more parallel milestones must all be resolved before the story can continue. When it comes to convergence plots, a convergence plot is a fancy-sounding phrase for a milestone that follows a bunch of parallel milestones and coalesces the flowchart back into a single path rather than multiple milestone options. Now, when it comes to paths, a path could be graphically depicted as the line connecting 2 or more milestones. Milestones could be represented as circles if you are creating a flowchart, a graphic to help you handle any sort of quest or plotline. A path represents the logical flow of the story from one milestone to another. When it comes to a plot flowchart, if you draw circles to represent each milestone, like I said, and draw lines connecting them in a logical representation, then you've just depicted the flowchart of a plot. In the Solo Adventuring Toolkit, each major plot type contained has at least one flowchart template. You can also think of this as a plot template, of course. It is simply a skeleton, a general structure for a quest that defines milestones and paths and so on, that you can take and make your own. You don't play through a flowchart template, you play through a plot that you've created using the template. When it comes to custom plots, you can also, of course, create your own plots using the terms and concepts presented in this book. Any plot template that you make yourself is a custom plot, as opposed to the plot templates that are in this book. Mandatory milestones are things that have to be completed successfully, in order to complete the quest successfully, of course. Now, concerning critical paths, the critical path of a plot is a sequence of milestones and paths that traverse the entire plot flowchart, where there are no optional milestones. It is the simplest, easiest, and least complicated way to complete the plot. The critical path may contain optional milestones only if there is no path that can be taken to circumvent them. Even if optional milestones rest on the critical path, they all may be skipped entirely. If the plot flowchart is a straight line, then chances are really good that every single milestone along that flowchart is mandatory, and therefore the critical path is equivalent to the entire plot flowchart itself. This concludes this part of the guide and review for today. In the next part, I am going to talk about milestone nuances. What happens as those milestones are completed? What connects those milestones in a more granular way? But in this case, let me talk a bit about these milestone definitions. It's pretty clear. Milestones can be considered objectives or goals within quests. I think it's important to point out that a single story could have several plot lines and therefore many milestones. These are objectives or goals that are reached or fulfilled along the way. They could happen at the same time. Some of them could be in a particular order, with one milestone making way to another milestone. Some of them could happen at the same time. They could converge or separate. They could branch out in different plot lines or sub-plot lines. Some milestones could be unnecessary to complete a single quest or objectives within that quest. But I think all milestones in a certain way offer rewards to the player characters. It could be related to information, physical rewards, or learning more about the game world and the non-player characters that inhabit that fictional world. Thank you for watching this part of the guide and review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.